to Victoryland Virtual Class. And I am Auntie Ruth, okay? Today our subject is science. Today we'll be learning about science. And our strand is diversity in matter. Can you say it after me? Diversity in matter. Good. And our substrand is living things and non-living things. Living things and non-living things. I'll be talking about the differences between living things and non-living things. We will be talking about the differences between living things and non-living things. Good. Let's come to our objectives. By the end of the lesson, you should be able to 1. Know the differences between living and non-living things. Know the differences between living and non-living things. Then 2. Identify and group items into living and non-living things. We are going to identify and group items into living and non-living things. Okay, I take our objectives again. By the end of the lesson, you should be able to know the differences between living and non-living things. Identify groups and items into living and non-living things. Identify and group items into living and non-living things. Can we continue? Okay, last week on our previous lesson, we learned about what? Living things and non-living things. We learned about some of the characteristics or what features of living things and non-living things. I hope you can remember. Good. So today we'll be talking about the differences between living things and non-living things. So what are the differences between living things and non-living things? What then are the differences between living things and non-living things? Do you have anything in mind? So they want to learn something brief, okay, and easy to understand. We said in our characteristics or features that living things move, they grow, they eat, they reproduce, and they die. But non-living things do not do what? Eat, do not reproduce, do not move, and do not die. I hope you are following. Yes. So we want to differentiate between these two. You have a toy and yourself. Can you talk? Say hello. Okay, hello. So good. I have a mouse here and I am talking. Hello mouse, my name is Auntie Ruth. What is your name? The mouse isn't talking. So it is a non-living thing, meaning non-living things cannot talk. They cannot move. I can clap my hands. The mouse cannot clap its hands. I can move from one place to another. The mouse cannot move unless the human being, which is the living thing, moves it. Good. So, I'm going to talk about the differences between living things and non-living things. So, these are the differences. We have some objects here. So, I hope you can identify them. Can we identify these objects we can see on the screen? What is this? We have plants. We said plants are living things. Animals. We have a cat here. The cat is representing all kinds of animals, okay? So the cat is also a living thing. Can we identify them? Yes. What about a human being? Is it a living thing or non-living thing? Yes, human beings are all living things. Good, let's move to the next object. Let's move to the next object. Ball. A ball. Is the ball a living thing or non-living thing? It is a non-living thing. The ball cannot play itself unless human beings play it. So by moving it, we say living things move and non-living things do not move. Okay? Good. Let's move on to the next object, a teddy bear. We have a teddy bear here. Nice teddy bear. Is it a living thing or a non-living thing? Good. It is a non-living thing. Okay. The next one is chair. It's made by wood. So it is what? A non-living thing. We have plants here, but this chair is not a plant. It cannot move. It cannot reproduce. It cannot do what? Breathe. And it cannot die. So it is a non-living thing. The last things we have here is what? Toys. You can see some cars, aeroplane, yes, a bus. They are all toys that we use to play. So let me ask this question. When you are playing with your toy, what happens? What happens when you are playing with your toy? Or toy cars? Do they spark by itself? And even if they spark by itself, who spark it? It's a human being that does that. Okay? So all these things, cars that we see around, buses that we take to school, they are all non-living things. So all the objects here, we can differentiate between living things and non-living things. So let's count the living things among them. Can we count? Okay, so let's count together. 1, plant. 2, animals. 3, human beings. Good. Clap for yourselves. You did very well. So we have 3 living things here. So, what about the non-living things? Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now we understand that living things can move, living things can eat, but non-living things cannot do that. Let's go to our next slide and see what we have there. So we are going to the differences between living things and non-living things. That was what we just spoke about. So let's see them here. Good. So living things and non-living things on a table form. We saw the images already. So we said these are the differences. 1, living things grow. Non-living things do not grow. So this is the only thing that makes the difference, okay? From living things and non-living things. Living things grow, non-living things do not grow. So the living things are in blue and non-living things that do not grow are in red. So living things grow, non-living things do not grow. Living things move, they move. And non-living things do not do what? Move. Good. Living things breathe. Living things do what? They breathe. Non-living things do not breathe. Living things breathe. Non-living things do not breathe. Living things die. You ultimately die. Non-living things do not die. Living things reproduce. Living things do what? They reproduce. Non-living things do not reproduce. So I take up the differences again. Living things and non-living things. Good. 1. Living things grow. They grow and non-living things do not grow. As I'm showing the pointer on them. Living things move. 2. Living things move. 3. Living things breathe. 4. Living things die. 5. Living things reproduce. So, non-living things do not grow, they do not move, they do not breathe, they do not die, and they do not reproduce. Wow! We did so well, okay? So today what we did today was what? Differences between living things and what? Non-living things. What we did today was what? Living things and non-living things. I hope we got everything correct. Okay? So, we will continue with... So, let's continue. But before we go to the next slide, let's sing a Twinkle Twinkle again. So, I'll ask you this question. We saw stars, sun, and moon. Are they living things or they are not living things? Think about it. So let's sing a Twinkle Little Star again.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky.
Good, we did very, very well. Okay, so I hope you are happy now. If you're happy and you know, clap your hands. I've heard you clapping. If you're happy and you know, clap your hands. Good, it's okay. So, this is what we have for today's lesson. Today's lesson is spoke about, we learned about living things and non-living things. They are differences. Okay, so let's move on. Evaluation. So let's take our pencils and exercise books to answer the following questions, okay? So state 4 differences between living things and non-living things. We are going to state 4 differences between living things and non-living things. Good. So we have it in a table form. We have living things here and non-living things here. We are going to state 4. 4. What we just learned. We will state 4 of it. State 4 differences between living things and non-living things. Living things do this, non-living things do not do this, they did that. So I wish you all the best and see you lovely kids on our next lesson. Bye-bye. Okay.